Warner Brothers is a complete disaster, and their earnings in the video game department have dropped nearly 50% in the most recent quarter. And it doesn't look like it's getting any better anytime soon. For those of you who have been following the channel for a little bit, might remember how I had a video covering an insider talk about how Monolith Productions was being shut down and Wonder Woman was being canceled. This was on top of, now since hearing Harry Potter and the expansions and extensions and all the DLC they were going to be adding to that, also got canned. And you have to wonder at some point, what the hell is this company even doing with all their properties? What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Warner Brothers recently had their earnings call talking about how they're doing just great when it comes to movies, as long as you consider Minecraft basically holding an entire company up. Because sure, we'll give them that. Minecraft did exceedingly well and laid a groundwork path for years to come for sequels to make basically infinite money when it comes to making that movie. That's all well and good, but when it comes to the gaming division of Warner Brothers and the injected DEI that it seems like they've put across the board with it, you gotta wonder, at what point is it all gonna come crashing down? Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down the latest earnings call for Warner Brothers and how their gaming division isn't doing very good, at all. Warner Brothers, the very same game studio behind the very popular games Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, recently held their earnings call, and it was actually far worse than anyone had realized. And now that Monolith has officially been shut down and they've canceled the Harry Potter game expansions, that makes people wonder, what do they even have coming down the pipe? I guess more Mortal Kombat from NetherRealms? I guess that's what they could do, but honestly, looking at how they keep rehashing properties and how they continually fail because they inject DEI into nearly everything they do these days, I don't hold out much faith that they're gonna get it right next time. Warner Brothers is currently basking in the glow of the success from the Minecraft movie, being 2025's currently top grossing film, and that one win, while enormous, still won't make up for the disaster unfolding behind the scenes in their gaming division. The company's latest earnings report revealed a 48% drop in the game's revenue last quarter, but that's not really all that surprising when you actually dive into it and realize they didn't have any games come out last quarter. So obviously they're going to have a massive drop on revenue. It makes sense. But then you got to ask the obvious question of, wait, they own all these properties, all these studios, and have all these things behind the scenes that they're supposedly working on, and yet they've canceled a bunch of stuff, nothing comes out, and they're dropping like a rock when it comes to revenue being earned. Almost as if the people working behind the scenes making these decisions can't make up their mind on what they even want to move forward with. Could that be a result of DEI hires as well? I'd say it's fair to speculate. I've covered Warner Brothers in detail on my live streams, and looking through their own website, the DEI being implemented, pushed throughout the entire company, makes you wonder if they don't even care about the products that they're making and instead care more about this ideology to push forward at all costs. The writing's been on the wall ever since they partnered back with Sweet Baby Inc. on this disaster, now known as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. It was a massive flop, and that's even putting it nicely. It suffered from a confused identity and a genre shift that nobody was asking for, save for a handful of ideological zealots that don't even play video games, but hey, I digress. The biggest problem with Suicide Squad was, ironically, the writing, the convoluted storyline, and how none of it made any sense whatsoever. The same reason why they would bring in these consultants to help with writing the script was one of the main reasons why the game itself flopped.
Hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean? I'm really interested. We were instead found by 4chan and the worst people on Twitter.
It was initially being introduced to everyone as this sort of big-time live service hit, but no, what we got instead was an uninspired and ridiculously bad storytelling game that actually had people longing for Gotham Knights of all games. Post-launch content was cut, and Rocksteady, once considered an elite game studio, was hit with massive layoffs. Now they're scrambling to refocus that on a new Batman game because, at this point, I guess it's really all they have left to fall back on. Meanwhile, we have Warner Brothers recently canceling the Hogwarts Legacy expansion and the definitive edition that was being made alongside it, which could have easily brought in a slew of revenue. On top of that, they shut down the Multiverses game, a game that did have quite the potential, and on top of that, quietly killed off the Wonder Woman game that was in development from Monolith Studios. The result from all of these canceled projects' decisions was nothing releasing and nothing seemingly upcoming for a massive multi-billion-dollar organization that holds all these IPs and has nothing at all to show for it. The company owns Superman, Batman, Mortal Kombat, Harry Potter, Looney Tunes. I mean, it goes on and on with what Warner Brothers owns, not to mention, on top of what they own, who they partner with and work with to make additional properties come to life. And again, I go back to, who are the people making these up high decisions, and why is nothing happening? The list goes on and on and on with the properties owned and nothing coming out. It's actually pretty telling. Much of it seems to trace back to the diversity, equity, and inclusion portion of Warner Brothers, and how many of their older properties don't seem to align with the current modern day standards of the ideologies that is pushed by the DEI cult agenda. And if it doesn't align with that, then it can't move forward. And by handcuffing yourself and creating all these red tape things on what you can't move forward with, you end up putting nothing out, wasting money, canceling projects, and then ultimately massive layoffs from the people down low that don't have the ability or power to make any of these decisions. Contrast that with the film division over at Warner Brothers, where I'd argue, and I'm probably not alone when I say this sentiment, that James Gunn is about the only thing holding the DC brand together these days. There's finally a shred of vision over there, and that's only because Warner Brothers got out of his way. So far, at least. That's the model they should be following, because right now, from afar, it feels like the entire Warner Brothers strategy looks like throwing darts blindfolded into the abyss, hoping to hit some magical target that is just nowhere to be found. And again, yes, the Minecraft movie was a massive success. Nearly $900 million globally already, with $300 million earned on opening weekend alone. And personally, when I went to go see it with my family, I was surprised that I didn't hate it. Now, it wasn't the best movie in the world, but as far as a passable, serviceable, entertaining experience with the family, yeah, sure, it was fine enough, I guess. I didn't even want to like it, and I came out saying, yeah, I can't hate on it. It was entertaining, and the kids loved it, so as a dad, yeah, sure, I can see this property having legs for basically forever. But that isn't a sign of recovery. It's a fluke, an aberration, a single hit, masking what feels like absolute chaos behind the scenes. And like I said, sure, there'll be sequels, but you can't ride that Minecraft high forever. What about the games division under Warner Brothers? What happens to all the employees that are currently working for them and have canceled projects and go into work seemingly twiddling their thumbs these days? Warner Brothers needs to make up their mind on what they're going to move forward with instead of just creating a project and then canceling it down the road because they decided to change lanes at the last second. This is a direct result of poor leadership. And again, while you can't for sure say, oh yeah, it's definitely DEI because you don't know how these people were hired in and maybe they really were the best people for the jobs. Maybe they just aren't doing the right thing right now, or the decisions that they're making aren't hitting, and no one's perfect. We're all human. Yeah, I guess you could explain things away until you start diving into Warner Brothers' website and how much they push diversity, equity, and inclusion in nearly all walks of life. And we're supposed to just sit back and expect that, yeah, no, everything's perfectly fine. It's definitely not an issue with the DEI being pushed. Of course not. It couldn't be that. And who suffers? It's always the lower level employees from the people up high making the boneheaded decisions of, yeah, let's start this project, let's greenlight this, and let's bring in some hires that may or may not be qualified for it, and then a whole house of cards comes crumbling down. For a company with this much IP firepower, this is beyond insane to me. Warner Brothers has no cohesive plan, no constant vision, and no idea currently on how to even try to begin to capitalize on the IPs that they already own. The only thing that's consistent coming out of Warner Brothers is the chaos. And unless something drastically changes, they're going to waste golden opportunity after golden opportunity, and even more of the studios under their umbrella are just waiting to be shut down. And the employees working at these companies just going in, getting hired for a position, doing their best and using their artistic vision and creative talents to make the best product possible are the ones that are suffering, while the people up high injecting DEI and these weird decisions over and over again are the ones that somehow always seem to be saved with these golden parachutes. Funny how that works. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
It's our turn now. After all we've been through. Oh. Bet you didn't think it'd be me at the end, huh, Bets?
Are we done with your bad stand-up routine?
Almost. But you always gotta end on your best joke.
Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT. Smash JT.